What's up, everyone? Kevin Allen here, aka the Geek from DFS Army, and this is your DraftKings NFL Week 18 first look. All right, first and foremost, of course, I want to send out prayers and wishes for a quick recovery to Damar Hamlin, who was injured on Monday night, and he's fighting hard and recovering. So, best wishes to him. But we do have another week of football to break down. The last week of the regular season, probably. I don't know what's going to happen with that canceled game. I expect that it will just be a draw or a forfeit or something like that, and they're just going to play out the final week. So we're going into this one sort of with the idea that the teams that have something to play for, with the assumption of a draw in that game. So we'll have teams that have what to play for and teams that don't. We'll get into that a little bit. And one of the ways that I really actually that you can tell these things is just by going to the game lines here. And that is a great way to really get an idea of which teams have something to play for and which do not. And sometimes it's not really clear. So let's start at the top here. Bucks at the Falcons. The Bucks are in, and they're pretty much locked into their spot. They do not have a reason to try to win this game, which is probably why the Falcons are favored here. Normally the Bucks would be favored in a game like this, 40-point total. So I'm really not going to touch anything to do with teams that have secured their spot in the playoffs and have reason to rest people. That's really, really important. A team that's out of it, like Texans, Colts, for example, two teams that are out of it, that game doesn't matter. But when a team has secured their spot, they have reason to rest starters, and the Bucks are that. So I'm not touching the Bucks. If we want to mess with the Falcons, of course, we can go right back to the running game over there. 40-point total, home favorites. So, the RBs for the Falcons here, playable. Next up, we got the Vikings at the Bears. And this I actually like this game. The Vikings, my little trusty list here, but the Vikings, I believe, still need to play this game to win, and the Bears have nothing to play for. So, interesting scenario here, but the Bears don't have any reason not to play, so they'll play their guys. I really like Justin Fields. We've seen in the last few weeks, though, Justin Fields is tough for him to get there. Just no wide receivers. He needs someone, anything. Needs a little something. He's got nothing. And I think it's a good bounce back spot, assuming there's no weather conditions in play here for the Vikings offense after that beatdown they took last week. All right, next up, we got the Texans at the Colts. And again, neither one of these teams has anything to play for here. So both these teams out of it, playing for next year. Doesn't matter. We've got a 38-point total. It's pretty gross. The Colts are doing disgusting things at quarterback. So they gave up, I guess, on Big Dick Nick and went to, I can't remember the youngster. Can't remember his name at this point, but the QB situation is really gross for the Colts. The running back situation is tough. I mean, I guess Moss, I think they probably lean heavy on the run with Moss. We'll see. But maybe that running game for the Colts, if we need to force it. On the Texans side, it's a no for me. No. Jets and the Dolphins, this is fun. It's interesting, this game. Dolphins need the win. And yet, I think last week we saw Teddy Bridgewater get hurt. I don't think Tua will play in this one, but maybe he does. I'm not really going to be interested in anything on the Dolphins side at all. I think the Jets are going to actually come back and maybe even get themselves a win here. But ugly game, 38-point total. Let's not get crazy with that one. Next up, we got the Panthers at the Saints. Saints are home, 3.5-point favorites, 41-point total. And again, another kind of ugly game here that I'm not really super interested in. Rashid Shaheed and Olave are fine on the Saints. Can't really see wanting to play anybody from this game. It's gross. What's up with all these games? Look how many games there are with 40-point totals. It's bizarre. Unheard of. It's bizarre. So at least we'll find some team totals maybe that are better as we go down the list. But it's bizarre. Browns at the Steelers, again, ugly game. Really don't need a whole lot to do with it. Najee Harris would be interesting on the Steelers. Yeah, Browns really not excited about it. Chargers at the Broncos. Again, another low-scoring game. 40 and a half point total. What's going on here? Where is the fantasy goodness? Not finding any. It's almost nothing. We're in the afternoon slate. Chargers at the Broncos, 40 points. Gross game. Chargers road favorites. You don't really want to play anybody against the Broncos. It's not a good scene, right? Giants at the Eagles. Now, the Giants have nothing to play for, and the Eagles need the win. So this is why we get the first monster team total of this slate on the Eagles. Monster team total here. All the points scoring. The Giants are going to be I already basically, from what the coach said, expect them to roll out the backups. You won't see Saquon Barkley in this game. You probably won't even see much of Daniel Jones. So it's going to be an Eagles destruction. They're minus 14. That I don't know if Jalen Hurts is going to be back or if it's going to be Gardner Minshew. It doesn't even matter. We want to load up on the pieces from the Eagles, especially Miles Sanders. They need this win. They will come to play and they will get the win. So the Eagles offense, non-competitive game, but we got to pay attention to it. In another non-competitive game, we got the 49ers at home taking on the Cardinals. 40-point total. Again, the Cardinals coming in for a beatdown against San Francisco. San Francisco 14-point favorite. So we get another nice team total. And that's about it. You get a nice team total going. What are you going to do? Right? So the 49ers, maybe George Kittle, maybe Christian McCaffrey, maybe Ayuk. They all did well last week. I don't expect the Cardinals will keep this competitive. Next up, I mean, it is not a good scene here. It's not a good scene. The Rams at Seattle. Seattle home, 6.5-point favorites. Seattle needs the win. They have a shot at the playoffs. The Rams do not. But they have no reason to rest. So Rams will go all in on this one. Seattle, not been that great at home. But the Rams can kind of stop the run a little bit. So maybe a little Geno action here. Maybe a little Metcalf or Lockett. Maybe. And finally, the Cowboys at the Commanders. And I like this game maybe a little bit more than the spread because it's another 41-pointer. Another 41-pointer. Gross. It's not good. You know what I didn't see? I didn't see the Bills game on the list, but the Bills are playing as well. So I don't know what's up with this sports book, but there's other teams on the slate that we can. The Bengals and the Bills. I guess they're off the sports books, but those will actually be the games that we want to target. So, but they're just off the books, so we don't know what the totals will be. But here we have the Cowboys and the Commanders, and yeah, I have a little interest in the Cowboys started this game. CeeDee Lamb, maybe not Dak Prescott. He hasn't done anything to give us any sort of an indication that he's any kind of good. The Commanders don't have any reason to rest. They'll play their guys as well, so maybe. Now, some of the missing names were these two games, the Buffalo at home against the Patriots game and the Bengals at home against Baltimore. And they were kind of left off because of the questionable status of, last week's game or whatever. But I think what's going to happen is they're going to play those games. So, fine by me. All right. So, with all that being said, I actually want to go back and look at one more total here. Yeah, Vikings at the Bears, only 45.5. Now, why do we think it's only 45.5 with these two sort of fun offensive teams? The Bears are terrible on defense. I'm assuming it's 45 because the Bears are just having a hard time scoring. So, kind of interesting, that one. That one looks like a play to the over game to me, but we'll see. All right, so let's get into it here as we take our first look at DraftKings, and we'll start at the quarterback position. You can tell just from the breakdown, this is not a good scene, right? This isn't really a week where there's a lot of quarterbacks that are even in play at all. A lot of these teams have horrible totals. have nothing to play for. Weird. So I don't even know, like, for example, Washington, are they going to roll Wentz out again? I don't know what they're going to do. There's some weird spots like that. Of course, Mike White, he really disappointed us last week. It's hard to go back. I think there's a rib issue there. And the quarterback plays last week were really rough, at least for me. I missed. I think it was the first time all season I missed. I completely whiffed at quarterback, and that's just not what the season has been like. So it's pretty brutal last week to kind of swing and miss like that. But we're bouncing back. We're bouncing back here. So again, starting at the top, Josh Allen, really, really good spot. He's at home against New England. They need the win, and they're going to go all in to win. So I'm always down with Josh Allen, and this is no difference. I would plug him right in. The other guy, of course, is Justin Fields. Justin Fields almost had a smash week last week, but he just couldn't do anything via the pass. He was rushing 132 yards, did not get the touchdown, but when he rushes like this, there's enough there. He threw one touchdown to Cole Kmet, but like this was a bad game for Justin Fields, and he still got 21.2 fantasy points. So I still think this guy has easy 30-point upside this and every week. I'm good with it. Joe Burrow's another quarterback I really like this week. He's at home against Baltimore. Baltimore's a good team, and it's a low total and whatever. But Joe Burrow is a swaggy quarterback at home, and he can do it even in these gross spots on an ugly slate with not a lot of exciting games. We're going to have to pay attention to Joe Burrow. Lamar got the Q tag still. Herbert, no. Tua, I do not expect him to play. Dak Prescott, where's the example of Dak Prescott kind of having a big game? He's got that 30-pointer, I guess, against Philly, but that was a crazy high-scoring game. Every other game's kind of hanging around 17. This one screams low scoring to me. Not into it. Cousins at Chicago. I don't normally play Kirk Cousins, but I think he's playable in this spot, assuming there's no weather condition or anything to affect this game. I think we can go back to Kirk Cousins. I don't think he's going to get us a 30 or any kind of crazy score, but Kirk Cousins will be in my mix this week. Tom Brady, no. They might rest Tom Brady, might not play. Geno Smith, maybe. Daniel Jones, probably not going to play. Brock Purdy, not much upside there. Watson, no. Minshew, yes. You know what? Okay. Minshew, somebody I'm going to play. You couldn't play him. You sucked last week. Doesn't matter. The Giants are playing the backups. So you could play Minshew. And finally, Mike White. With Mike White, here's the thing. What went wrong? I believe that Mike White's just broken ribs and he just couldn't play. And I don't think he can play. It's that simple. His ribs are broken. And therefore, he's out there. If you're Mike White and they're giving you your chance, you're like, this is my only chance. I got to go out there. I don't care how hurt I am. I got to go out there because next year you're not going to get a chance. So he's a third string quarterback. This is a guy that wants, he's like, he's going to say, yes, I'm ready to play no matter what. But the reality was the way he played last week, and he's not that good. He's a third string quarterback, but the rib issue definitely not helping. And I think the reality of him actually not being an actual good enough for the NFL quarterback comes up as well. There's a reason why somebody's a third stringer or a second stringer like Minshew, where these kind of guys, they can pop off, but you're taking a lot of risk every time. All right. I'm going to plug in Josh Allen because he's the man and it's safe points. All right. Let's talk about the running back position top down. And starting at the top, Christian McCaffrey, good spot. San Francisco has an outside shot. Still at, I believe, need a win. No, I mean, they're not on the don't need a win list, so they must have the ability. I believe they're going to be playing this game to win. Again, I'll verify that. Let me just see here. Hold on. 49ers have a shot at winning home field advantage if they beat the Cardinals, and with losses for the Eagles and Commanders, et cetera, et cetera. So there is a scenario for home field advantage for San Francisco. They're massively favored. They probably play McCaffrey. The Q tag, a little scary, but I don't care. They're going to lean on their guy. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to try to get the bye if they can. Austin Eckler, perfectly fine spot if we want to pay up for him here. He smashed last week, but he did it on very low volume. And you have to be careful when this happens. He only had 10 attempts and 4 targets last week in a blowout. Now, that was a blowout, but I mean, the volume has not been that crazy. So I think Eckler's a more dangerous play compared to Christian McCaffrey, and I'm going to favor CM Sizzles in that spot. Nick Chubb's been really good, getting tons of volume most weeks. He just rarely pays off the 7,500 price level because he doesn't catch a pass. So I'm a little bit concerned about it. Dalvin Cook, I like this week. Now, Chicago's horrible against the run. Look at what Jamal Williams did against them last week. As a matter of fact, last week, part of the reason Goff didn't go crazy to Amon-Ra was because it was so easy to run on this Chicago defense. At least it was for the Lions. So I like Dalvin Cook. I know it's crazy. I don't like him normally, but I kind of like Dalvin Cook here. I kind of do. Going through the rest of the running back position here, Joe Mixon's fine. He isn't, just aight for me. Baltimore pretty good against the run. Pollard, no. I don't like that spot. I don't like that price. No for Connor. No for Ramondre. Ramondre with Damian Harris back has reverted to the Ramondre of old. We don't want to pay this kind of price for a player like that. Kamara at 6,600. No. Montgomery, maybe. Let's see what he did last week. Yeah, I mean, it was an ugly game last week. They got killed. Really got away from the running game, and that could happen again here. So it's a dangerous play. Kenny Walker, also a dangerous play, but I love him as a player. No targets. 1 target last week. Not a whole lot of targets most weeks, but it gets a little bit. And, it's a rough matchup against the Rams, but I'm into it. The flip side, one guy I really like is Cam Akers. Cam Akers is doing it and doing it well. Now, he does not get passing game work. Again, 2 targets, 3 targets max, but this is a pretty good matchup. Seattle run defense, not very good. Again, I prefer a favored team. The Rams are underdogs in this one, I believe. Yeah, I mean, they're 6.5-point underdogs, but they have nothing to play for. Okay, they have, they can play for seeing if Cam Akers is any good. So I like Cam Akers. He'll be in my mix. Another guy I'm into is Najee Harris. Najee Harris, the volume's picked up a little bit lately. 22 carries, a couple targets, had 9 targets a couple weeks ago. So, he can catch a pass. He can do it all. I really feel like Najee Harris is ending the season strong with the Steelers. Steelers really want to win. Cleveland rush defense is one of the worst in the league. So Najee Harris in that mix. He might be the last viable. Actually, no, there's a couple more here. So Miles Sanders, very playable. 14-point favored Eagles. Will they lean on Sanders? I don't know. Should they? Probably. Will they? I don't know. But I like Sanders. Can play him. Anyone else of interest? Maybe Algier against the Tampa backups. Brian Robinson will get another full workload. We'll see what happens there. You know what? Everybody's disappointed in Brian Robinson, but you know what? He got 24 carries, 87 rushing yards. The problem was, where were the targets? They don't throw to the guy, and that is a problem. It's just hard to get there. You got to score multiple touchdowns, and if you're not doing that, you're not doing it. Beyond this, it gets pretty gross here. Fournette, no. Kelly, maybe, I guess. Maybe Zach Moss in the mix. Maybe keep him in the mix. He's getting a lot of carries. Let's see what he does compared to Jackson. He got 15 carries, only 3 carries. So, you know what? It does look like Zach Moss is the favored running back, and that is a good situation for Houston against Houston. Let's see who the Colts roll out at quarterback. If it's Big Dig Nick again, I can't. But if it's even Sam Ellinger, who the hell was the quarterback? I don't even know. But if it's not Foles, it's better. All right, let's take a look at the defense category and see what we can come up with. I always like to plug in the defense after my quarterback and running backs. So let's see what's going on at defense this week. Cardinals, no. Giants, no. Patriots, no. Commanders, no. Ravens, no. Rams, no. Falcons, maybe. So this is the first what if they sit Tom Brady situation. I don't know. Again, the betting lines look like they are going to sit Brady, right? Like the Bucks are 4.5-point underdogs, but I'm going to save that for in case that actually happens. Jets, maybe. I actually kind of like the Jets here. If they're going to be going up against the backup quarterback for the Patriots. And again, Skyler, right? Let's see what he did last week. I don't think it was very good. So, yeah. 12 for 21, touchdown, interception. He did throw a touchdown. So let's see if it's this guy. But, he hasn't been very good. He hasn't been completely terrible, but this is an interception machine waiting to happen in a game they need to win. I like the Jets defense. Actually, I'm going to plug him in there. Go right back to it. Oh, they did terrible last week. Doesn't matter. But again, running through the defense position group in general. So we picked the Jets, but Texans against you could play if you could play the Texans here. As crazy as that is against this Colts team, they're terrible. Browns not playable as well. Vikings probably somewhat playable. My Dolphins somewhat playable. Colts somewhat playable. I mean, these are all low-scoring crap games. So a lot of these spots are playable. It's funny. I don't really love these pay-up options all that much. Yeah. Eagles, if we want to pay all the way up, and the 49ers are in play. But I'm going to plug in the Jets. Why not? All right, let's take a look at wide receiver positions. Start at the top, work our way down. We'll try to find some of the cheaper, viable wide receivers to plug in this lineup. Give us a chance to go through the whole position group here and just get a first look at everybody. So again, Justin Jefferson, stud off a dud narrative all day. You got to go back to JJ. Price, salary's high, whatever. Got to go right back to it. He scored a 2. 1 reception. It was horrible last week. But you know what? His division rival made a game plan to take him out of the game. It was double teamed all game. That's how it goes. Tyreek Hill? No. Jamar Chase? Maybe. CeeDee Lamb? Okay, maybe. AJ Brown? Okay, maybe. Yeah, I kind of like this game. Pieces from it, good, fine by me. Stephon Diggs, same deal. Bills absolutely need to win this game. Would make a good pairing with Josh Allen. Not sure if I can afford a Stephon Diggs, but an interesting pay up option. I usually like to pay down with Josh Allen and find like one of Davis or McKenzie, one of those other guys when they go off or Knox, something like that. Just it's more affordable, more correlated. T. Higgins is fine. Devontae Smith is fine. Mike Evans, no. I don't think the Bucks are gonna play their guys, so I'm not gonna play Mike Evans or Godwin. Allen, rough matchup. Ayuk, kind of bad matchup, but playable. But I mean, some spots here that I'm interested in. I want to take a look at Tyler Lockett's log from last week. Didn't do a whole lot against the Jets. Tough matchup. Also coming off the injury. DK Metcalf also didn't do it. They didn't need much. And Jets are tough to throw on. But I think Metcalf and Lockett are very much in play. So we'll keep them in the mix for us here. Teams need to win. Talking about a team that doesn't need to win, but don't care about losing. DJ Moore and the Panthers, okay. So not a whole lot going on up here. I think it's the Seattle guys that are kind of interesting. I think we're going to skip the Miami guys. We're going to skip the Bucks guys for now. Either one of the Eagles wide receivers, interesting, but non-competitive game. And of course, if we can afford Justin Jefferson or CeeDee Lamb or Jamar Chase, all good. So that kind of covers the high end of the wide receiver position. And let's make our way down and see what we can figure out here. So Chris Olave, again, still been overpriced. He's effectively been overpriced all season. Like he'd be a useful piece if he was in the mid 4Ks and we'd been like smashing with him, but they overpriced him after one big game and just never brought it down. And people keep playing him. They don't care. Terry McLaurin, no, right? He's not good with Wentz. Cannot play him with Wentz. But if they bench Wentz for Heineke, then maybe. Man, I want to go back to Garrett Wilson so bad. I just want to make it known that, Miami's a really good team to target with opposing wide receivers. They play man, et cetera, et cetera. It might be a good game for Mike White. I know I say it all the time. Jets have been a disappointment machine. I know this. You know this. We all know it. But maybe. Palmer, no. Brown, no. Deontay, no. No. Maybe. No. You see all these no's? They're all no's. No. No Rick James this week. Again, Giants probably going to rest their starters. Jahan Dotson, no. Rashid Shaheed, maybe? Maybe Greg Dortch. Now, as bad as it's been for the Cardinals, look how many targets this guy had last week. 11 targets, 10 targets last week, 11 targets the week before. I don't care that he got nothing. I'm playing Greg Dortch. I'm also playing Gabriel Davis. I feel like I mentioned it, but just to pair up Josh Allen with somebody cheaper. I actually don't love Gabriel Davis on a week-to-week basis. He just hasn't been doing it, but the Gabriel Davis breakout week is going to happen at some point. But like I said, for me, I usually just like pairing up Josh Allen with these cheaper guys. I don't mind going McKenzie either if we wanted to go even cheaper. Really doesn't even almost make a difference at all. All right, so we've got those two cheap. I got a cheaper wide receiver here in Greg Dortch. Let me take a look at the tight end position and see who's available here before we finish out the last couple spots. Top of the range, George Kittle. I don't mind Hawkinson. Mark Andrews, no. Actually, Mark Andrews did all right last week, even with Huntley in there. Let's see if Lamar Jackson comes out. If Lamar Jackson comes back, I think this is a great price point to get in on Mark Andrews. Let's see what they're saying about Lamar. Nothing. And I've heard nothing on him. So, grain of salt. But I'm interested in Mark Andrews if Lamar comes back. Cole Kmet can be paired up nicely with Justin Fields. Dalton Schultz. You don't really have to pair up Dalton Schultz with Dak because I'm not going to play a whole lot of Dak. So Dalton Schultz can be played by himself. Tyler Higbee, you got to note this. Seattle's really, really bad against the tight end position. But Higbee also kind of sucks. Dawson Knox here. Man, he does not really justify that salary level. And Njoku, Freiermuth, playable. I don't hate it. Juwan Johnson, sorry. He's been coming through with decent scores here as well. Let's see, though. 3,600 now for Tyler Conklin. They priced him up. I don't like that. Bellinger, not going to play. Cade Otton. So we can't trust any of these guys down here. I think Hunter Henry, maybe. Tyler Conklin, no. Kind of like Dalton Schultz of this group. George Kittle's been great, just to be clear, and he's part of a game that could score well. Maybe George Kittle, but paying $6,000 at tight end right now. Oh man, that's a tough pill to swallow. Dallas Goedert also in a decent spot, but again, I don't really know. If I build around the Eagles, I'll build that lineup with Gardner Minshew or Jalen Hurts, see who's starting for them. For now, I'm going to go with Dalton Schultz. I think Dallas needs to. Let me see here. Hold on. Let's get the playoff picture again for Dallas. Dallas can still win the NFC East. Cowboys need to beat the Commanders, and Eagles lose. So they ain't winning shit. So they're alive to the top spot in the conference if they beat the Commanders, and Eagles lose to the Giants, and the 49ers lose, and Dallas earn home field. So they're going to play it out. Even though it's a super long shot, they're going to play it out. So let's plug in Schultz. Schultz did great last week, I believe, 24 points. He usually gets his targets, so I'm fine with it. 59.50 left. I would love to get Justin Jefferson in there, but it doesn't work. Can't play Justin Jefferson in this lineup. The only way you can get Justin Jefferson in here is we have to find another punt somewhere else, a super punt at wide receiver. And again, we went all the way down to Dortch. Maybe Elijah Moore again. I mean, there's a couple of plays here, but nothing super exciting. So I think we're going to have to live in, we're just going to have to knock out 2 more spots here in this cheaper zone to try to make this work. Man, there's Pickens are slim. Slim Pickens. I think Cortland Sutton or Jerry Jeudy, very playable. What happened to Cortland Sutton? He used to be the guy, and now he just turned into sort of a boring player. Yeah, because all these Giants wide receivers, can't trust them. I don't know how much they're going to play. They're starters. Claypool, no. Campbell, no. Rashid Shaheed, maybe. This is all trash. You know what? What if we do this? Let's go with McKenzie instead of Gabriel Davis. I like Davis better, but McKenzie opens up something here where we could play Justin Jefferson if we want. Then, of course, we got to pay down. Oh, KJ Osborne could be all right. No, can't double down. Need Cousins in a lineup like that. That's not working either. Let me try something different. Okay, so instead of Justin Jefferson, let's see what other stud we can put into this lineup. How about Allen, McKenzie, Diggs, double stack? Ooh, okay. All right. Yeah, we could finish it out with Miles Sanders. 14-point favorite team against an opponent that's playing backup. Sanders should be able to feast in that one. So there you have it. NFL Week 18, DraftKings First Look. We got a lot of information to absorb over the course of the week before we really want to finalize any of these plays, really get a sense. Teams will start to tell us who they're going to play. But my philosophy in general for Week 18, last week of the season, the regular season, is the most dangerous teams are going to be the teams that have no playoff positioning to play for, but are in the playoffs. You're already locked in. That's your Giants. That's your kind of your Bucks, your Chargers. These teams, they have nothing to play for. And there's a great chance that in the third quarter, the coach is going to be like, you know what? Even if they say they're going to start their guys, sometimes they play them all the way through. This is the hard part about week 18. Sometimes they're like, oh, we're going to play it. And they do. Like Tom Brady will sometimes be like, no, I'm playing. That's with the Bucks, right? Tom Brady will refuse to come out of the game. He's like, nope, we're playing it. That's Tom Brady. He's done it before, and he smashed in week 18. So like those things will happen as well. So we got to really, really pay attention to what people are saying, what the coaches are saying, but also be wary of any team that has absolutely nothing to play for. If they have nothing to play for, they are motivated to rest their guys. So we'll clear all that up over the course of the week. Good luck this week, everybody. Of course, if you have not done so, make sure you smash that subscribe button, subscribe to the channel for all of our content. We've got a ton coming out this week. Of course, the game plan is back, breaking down all our favorite bets with Master Better, John Sensational Alessia, Master Bets all over the place. We got tournament tactics on Friday. And of course, we've got an exciting 2-game slate on Saturday. I love the 2-game. It reminds me of the playoffs. So we're going to get a little more practice. We practiced some 3-game slates, some 2-game slates. Love those. So we're going to talk about that one as well. We'll have a breakdown for that. So make sure you stick around to this channel and hit that notification bell so you get all this goodness. I will see you guys next time. Good luck.